Ahoy, Voyagers! This is your Captain Amelia speaking. Thank you for dropping by our YouTube channel today. So today, HY Voyagers is going to present some information and topics in regards to personal branding using LinkedIn. We will have some more in this series about Instagram usage and Twitter usage. But for now, we're going to focus on our personal branding on LinkedIn. If you haven't already, I suggest you go onto our channel and look up our other series on using LinkedIn and LinkedIn 101 building before proceeding with this presentation. All right, so we're going to dive in. We want you to get link-minded with your brand. Before we begin, I'm just going to let you know what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding on LinkedIn specifically. Then I'm going to talk about who uses personal branding and personal branding specifically, diving in. And we'll discuss why it's so important to brand yourself and what shapes your brand, what kind of things you can do to mold your brand into what you want it to be. We'll explain some of the benefits of doing this. I'll then discuss some 10 key concepts of personal branding to keep in mind when you're designing and thinking about what you want your personal brand to be. And then I'll give you some application and examples to show you what I'm talking about. All right. So what is personal branding on LinkedIn? Well, it's that message you bring across and that feeling on your LinkedIn profile, what it portrays to the public. Your profile needs to have a narrative or a story. You're more than just your qualifications and experience and education. You're a person. You have feelings, emotions, personality behind you. You want to showcase that through your profile. It helps with your branding. And when the reader is finished, they should have a good idea of who you are as a person, what your career looks like currently, what matters to you, what drives you to do these things and have these jobs, and where you want to go with your future. You want the reader or recruiter to know your past, present, and future of your professional life. And you're constantly changing, so you have to remember your brand will also grow and change with you. You don't just brand yourself and you're stuck with that for life. It's kind of a molding and gradual thing. And your LinkedIn profile complements your personal brand. So as a person, when someone knows you, they kind of understand who you are. With your LinkedIn profile, you want your job experiences and volunteerisms and the things you do to reflect your personal brand. Makes you authentic. And this about section on your LinkedIn profile, for those who haven't, it's in our previous video. This about section is vital, and this is where you start to build your personal brand and bring your profile to life. It's not just a resume, but you want people to see the motivations, what drives you, what you're like, your personality in the workplace. All right, so who uses branding? Everyone uses personal branding. No matter where you are or what you do, you have a personal brand, as I mentioned. Whatever persona you give to the public, whatever you do in the public, anything you do, you say, you look like, gives off yourself a brand. People can look at you and people shouldn't judge, but when you're out in public, people will make a snap judgment call based on the brand you're personifying in the public. So it's something just to keep in mind when you go out in public and you're trying to network and you're trying to build these connections for your career. You really need to make sure you understand the whole package of personal branding. And it's all about personal branding. When it comes to your career and professional life, your personal brand is vital, 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 vital. So it's kind of an amalgamation, or as you see on the diagram in the bottom, it's about who you really are and how you see yourself mixed together with how other people see you. That's your personal brand. It's the mix of the two. Because not everyone knows who you really are deep down inside. You got to show that through what you do with others, what you say with others, what you personify in the public. So you got to remember that when you're starting your personal brand. You have to market yourself for the job. You are the product. Personal branding is about selling yourself as a worker, a career professional, what you bring to the table. What is your service? What are you going to help the company with? You are the product they want to buy. So that's where your salary comes in. So you really got to know if you're worth it, and you got to be confident about your brand. You want to be sincere because it's hard to fake a brand. You want them to know what makes you special, what makes you stand out. You want to stand out from the crowd somehow by being your full self. So that's things you got to think about. What you bring to the table, capture your essence, as I said. You are the product. You got to market yourself as such, and thus personal branding, especially on LinkedIn, vital. All right. Your brand is an extension of you. As I just mentioned, that's pretty much what all that means. So everything you do affects your brand, whether you have social media content. That doesn't only include LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is definitely one you definitely have to make sure you're branding for. But other things like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, people will look up your name. So you need to make sure that your personas online match up. And your public appearances can help you with interviews, networking in person or online. The content you share and create, all of that builds your personal brand. People understand you more. And there's 4 things that help brand you. There's your image, your mission, your values, and your vision. These are all very important concepts to remember when you're building your brand. You need to have these 3 things. What are you giving off to the public? What is your mission in life? What is your overall goal? What are your values? Do you value family? Do you value helping others? Do you value animals? Things like that. You got to really understand what you're branding yourself for. And your vision. What are your visions of the future? You have a mission, but your missions can be accomplished and then there'll be new missions. So what's your vision for the future? You got to think about all these things. It's a lot to take in, but it's just things to consider when you're trying to understand yourself and dig deep in your personal brand. So why is branding important? Well, as I mentioned, everything you do and say in public affects how people perceive you. So you want future employers and individuals to understand if you're like-minded to join their teams. A lot of people can learn trades, learn skills, things like that, but you can't really change someone's brand and personality. That's something you just have to have out there so people can understand if they can work with you well. This is very important things to consider. Companies want similar, driven, goal-oriented values, skills, and interests on their team. So if you don't have the same drive or goals or values, they might not want you on the team because you don't personify their brand. You don't match up with their brand. Your personal brand and a company brand need to have some alignment for optimal job satisfaction and things like that. So building your personal brand is very important to help with that, for finding your optimal career goal and job. And branding makes you stand out. Recruiters will remember those branded people that have that confidence and they know themselves. They don't want to have to try to mold you into what they want. They want someone who knows who they are and has the ability to be authentic. And we want to create that full picture as a human. We're human. We're not just our qualifications. I always say that. We're not just our qualifications, work experience, and education. We're human beings, okay? We have other aspects in our lives. Things happen. We can, have feelings. So that's very important when you're branding yourself so people understand who you are and where your values lie. And always stay current with leaders in your field. When you brand yourself effectively, you can network insanely well with people that are up in the industry, and it helps you stay current with those leaders in your field. You have to be relevant or you'll be left behind. All right. How do you shape your brand? Well, there's many things to consider. However, main thing is you want to be sincere, have sincerity, and be authentic. Never mislead your brand. If you're not an extroverted people go-getter that wants to dive into a community, that's fine, but don't lie and say you are, because then they expect that type of behavior from you. And if that's not happening, doesn't make sense, right? It makes you feel untrustworthy. When you're authentic and yourself, you build trust much more easily. You want to highlight your skills and strengths. Know what you're good at. Know what you can offer. This way, it's not digging. You're authentic. You know where you can sell yourself to someone, and for a job that you like, you know you can bring assets. You need to showcase your values, beliefs, and goals and accomplishments, and you can do that all in your LinkedIn profile. All these things like sharing content from other leaders in the field, creating your own content, sharing pictures of you working and products. Maybe you're a great designer, you showcase what you have to offer for art, all those types of things, and your values. Posting all of that on LinkedIn will definitely give you more traction and exposure to build your network of like-minded individuals. You always can include your volunteer work and any awards you might receive or certifications or certificates. This is a great place to put all of those resources together so you can add this LinkedIn profile to your resume. So when they look at your relevant stuff, they can also go on your LinkedIn profile and see a 3D version of you and not just a 2D paper qualifications. They don't see the rest of you. So this is a great asset for personal branding, which can lead you to your best career opportunity. Other things to remember about shaping your brand. Remember, you're the product. You want to be able to understand yourself. How do you work? You're the only one that has the manual to you. So you have to give that to recruiters and potential employers and the public. You need them to understand how you work. So if you're the right fit for them, they can choose you and know exactly what they're getting. Your LinkedIn profile is a digital representation of your personal brand. You want everything to make sense, okay? And always try to make sure you have this branding similar on all your different medias. You want to be consistent. You want to explore, create a profile of your dreams. You can edit your banner. You can change your profile picture. You can give off color branding if you like a color palette. That can be a part of your brand. What you look like when you do a professional life. All these different things can be beautiful on a LinkedIn profile and really draws attention to other influencers, and they can really understand you and networking, and they can reach out to you. They know what you are. Your brand is everything that makes you you. No matter what you do, you're a personal brand. You always shape and change with the times and relevancy when you learn more things. You just got to stay consistent and make sure you just keep that in the back of your head every time you do something. All right, benefits of personal branding. I have been mentioning a few things here or there, but just to summarize it all up, you really establish a message to recruiters. Like I said, they will see who you are. They'll understand what you're there for, what your values are, how you are as a person. It's all there. They don't have to dig in. It's given to them on a silver spoon, which is the best way, making it easier for them. It increases your job and workplace compatibility. Like I said, when you have like-minded individuals join your team, this creates unity and collaboration and teamwork and just a happy work environment. I'm sure we've all had someone in the workplace that didn't really fit the team vibe. And it really drags you down. So this way, when you understand your personal brand, you can avoid these problems and just bring more life to a workplace. You want to leave impressions. Make yourself memorable. You want to stand out as someone who is competitive in your field. You have knowledge. You're willing to grow. Things like that. That's good to keep in mind. You want to increase your exposure, which leads to more networking, which leads to more opportunities. The more people you know, the more opportunities come into play here. Optimization of your LinkedIn profile, just to remember if you watched our other videos, leads to new conversations with very influential people. When you optimize your LinkedIn profile, you're optimizing the brand you're personifying for yourself, for your personal brand, and that can lead to more people wanting to connect, more exposure, more like-minded individuals, people in your field, people you might learn from, people you might just want to, pick their brain. People like feeling important and like they have things to offer others. It's always cool to ask for advice from a professional. They might just give it for free because they just want to know that they have skills and knowledge to give. So that type of thing, you just gotta work it. Networking is very important, and personal brand can really help with you with your networking. All right. And just a little tidbit of information for you guys. Every single minute, approximately 6 individuals are hired on LinkedIn because they have an optimized profile and they have a great personal branding. So when you look onto see people's profiles who successfully land these different jobs, you see the essence of who they are from their profile. You know what drives them. You know what their values are. You know what they offer. You know that they're continuously growing to improve themselves. These individuals get those opportunities because they have great branding, leading to great exposure, leading to better networking, which leads to your better job opportunity. All connects together. All right, now we're going to quickly discuss 10 key concepts to personal branding. These are just the 10 right here, but we'll dive right in, okay? Number 1, your professional image. So here you want to make sure you have a nice profile headshot photo. You want to be confident. It leads to credibility and professionalism. People can understand your goals based on the way you present yourself in your photo. Your banner image on LinkedIn brings your personality. Your self-advertising brings your individuality to the profile. Color palette. What's your color? What's your energy? Maybe you're more of a chill vibe. You're into plants and animals. You have more of a green, earthy tones. Or maybe you are super high energy. You're talking like my mother. Talk, network. She's just full of energy in life. Maybe yellows or bright colors that bring energy. Maybe that's your color palette. Things to think about. If you have logos, you can add these to your profile. And avatars. Avatars are cool too. If you have I know my business cards have a little avatar made by our marketing and branding expert. So those types of things really bring your personality out on your profile. Next, you want to be discoverable. Like I said, the more people can find you, the more networking you can get done. So you want to use your real name. Sometimes it's scary putting it out there, but when it comes to networking and professional and career boosting, you need to have your real name. Avoid nicknames when you're trying to be discovered by new people. And even Google yourself. I do this from time to time because it gives you an idea of what the public will see when they look you up. You can see how discoverable you are. I know when I look up my full name, my LinkedIn profile comes up, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook account, they all come up right away. So that's good for my exposure. So if someone doesn't remember what my LinkedIn profile thing is, they can just Google me. People will do it. Trust me, they will. They're interested. They want to know you. So these are definitely why you have to be authentic with your brand and have it cross-platform. They don't want a two-facey you and then a professional-looking you. They want to know your brand. You need to make sure you're giving the best vibes out into the public. Professional goals. What calls you to action? What drives you to get out of bed in the morning? What is your career and professional goals? What drives your personal development and professional development? Why do you want to do better? These are things that employers will look at and recruiters, because your career should be more than just a paycheck. It should be rewarding personally and professionally. Number 4, you want to have humility. Being humble is a good trait, especially in professionalism. You need to know your weaknesses. This is often a question in interviews. I will tell you that right now, whether it's retail, part-time jobs, they will ask you, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? People always forget to think about their weaknesses because they just want to personify their strengths. But by knowing your weaknesses, you have goals that you can build to better those weaknesses. Have a plan. I know when I've been working at this job, I was weak in certain areas. I will tell you. My boss will tell you. But through feedback and knowing those weaknesses, you can have goals to improve them. And employers love that. They want to see that you want to grow. You're not just going to stagnate. Like, I only know this. I don't know how to do that. I'm not going to do it. You need to know how to grow as a professional. So being humble is great. But for those strengths that you do have, don't be a cocky know-it-all, as they would say in Canada. Know that you don't know everything, but you can be proud of what you can do, but know that you can always be better. Don't try to have some humility. You're a well-rounded individual. That's what they want to know. All right. 5, writing and communication. So here you want to think critically before posting. If it is potentially something you don't want your employer to see or certain individuals to see, don't post it. But you want to also do self-editing and reflection before making such posts. Have a reason behind everything you post on public forums for your personal brand, because everything you do affects your brand. So this is especially important on profile LinkedIn. Don't just share random things. Make sure it's relevant, or you have an explanation to its relevancy so people understand you. Excuse me. Publish your own content. Companies that you work for might often see it and want to post it to their people, and all of the people that follow them gives you major exposure. So it's something you just got to think about purposes behind things. That's why when you make posts, think, because your company could share that and expose you. So you want to have authentic personal brand. You want to showcase your skills, ideas to others to see. That's why you make your own content on LinkedIn. And keep practicing. It improves your English proficiency when you're writing and communicating on LinkedIn. As you grow, you'll get better at it. You'll learn how to self-edit more effectively. And this is something that is very beneficial for personal branding. You want to see yourself growing and being better. Digital presence. This is all about LinkedIn. You want to stay present in the digital presence. The digital world flies by very, very quickly. Things change overnight in seconds. So you got to stay up to date. You have to show up on LinkedIn and look at content every day in your field. You want to keep growing as the times change, because when our parents were kids, well, I know mine, they never had Google. They never had search engines. They didn't even have internet right away. So it's those types of things, they change. So you have to be relevant in the times. Always comment, like, and share other people's content. Make professional connections all the time. It's not just a one-time thing. Your network grows every day. So you have to stay present and engaged in your LinkedIn every day. And that helps build your personal brand and exposure. Number 7. Know your industry. This is relevant with the staying up to date. Do your research. Know what successful professionals are doing in your field. What are they doing well? What maybe you can improve on that. Know trends. Know what's coming up, what's popular. That way you get more exposure, better networking, and it builds your personal brand. This is how influencers become influencers, by having authentic personal brands, growing with the times, staying up to date, and knowing their industry. And have some friendly competition. Don't worry if you think it's weird to look at your competitors and what they're doing. Don't obsess over it, but it's always good to see what other successful competitors are doing. Maybe that can trigger some ideas for you that you never thought of. You want to stay unique, so don't copy your competitors, but it just gives you some ideas, okay? That's important. You want to be you and authentically you. All right, your branding statement. This is very important as well. All of these things are important, but something you probably didn't really realize you need to think about. Having an elevator pitch. This is literally a 1-minute brief synopsis of your professional careers, motivations, your personality, your history. It's just quick, snappy, and it's called an elevator pitch because generally you can say it in an elevator interaction going up and down. So this is good for online and offline interactions. Very good. So when people ask you, so what do you do? You're not stuck there going, well, I currently, yeah. So you have this ready. You know what you're going to say. It won't be like phrase for phrase, word for word, but you have the flow and idea of what you're going to say to someone when they ask you. Even try catchphrases. Have people understand your professional mission and values, like HY Voyagers. We have a mission statement and a catchphrase. We reinvent how international students learn, find work, and live a crazy, fun life in Canada. It's not exactly the exact catchphrase, but it's generally that type of thing. How you get educated, find work, and live a crazy, fun life in Canada. That's our catchphrase. It sticks. We want people to understand what our company's about. Branding's also good for companies. You want to personify your company. But right now, personal branding. So when you do an elevator pitch, the style and approach should be quick, snappy, memorable, but straight to the point. You need to understand your own mission and goals. This is the best way to build a elevator pitch. Number 9, personal narrative. You want to make things personal and connect to people. People remember products and people and things based on an emotional connection, okay? That's just science. That's your brain. That's how we function. So you want to bring experiences to your narrative, use examples, keep things relevant so people remember it. You want to showcase your personality and your personal development. People love watching people on Instagram, like let's say the Kardashians, for example. They're popular, they're influencers. People watch them grow, how they develop things, where they change, what their life's doing. People like to know that stuff. We're weird people that like to know other people's stuff. So when you showcase your personal development, people will want to be interested in you and see you grow. You need to know your audience because not all audiences are the same. You want to stay on brand and focus on your mission. So you don't want to confuse people with your brand if it keeps bouncing around too much. You want to be relatively consistent. It can change and grow, but make sure it's not completely disconnected. And we're people. People like to see people be successful. That's just human nature. Okay? Last but not least, be social. This is definitely one that many people, especially introverts, would struggle with. It was one I had to work on myself. This can happen online, in person, anywhere you go. You have to be social, and it can be draining sometimes. So you want to be involved in your community. You want to volunteer. You want to put yourself out in the public. Even live presentations, doing those in person can really help you with your social and your networking. Building your personal brand. People want to meet you and understand you and get to interact with you. And some online examples, like when we share photos, we share videos, we share live presentations like this on YouTube or on Zoom. Forums, when you share content on forums, when you comment, like, and share other people's content. This is all social interactions, whether it's face-to-face or online. Sometimes it's scary. I can tell you, I'm an actual introvert, but these are all skills you can learn. You practice, you get better at them as you go. You can still be social as an introvert. You can still talk to people. You can still network. Practice, practice, practice. It's tough, but you got to get out of your comfort zone to build your brand. You need to grow, and you can't just stay stagnant. To have a great personal brand, you need to grow. And then you get networking, and then those networks lead you to that optimal career job of your dreams. Everything connects like a web. Every little aspect can create that solid foundation for you to be successful in your career. And these are some questions you should ask yourself when starting your personal branding. What are your talents and top strengths? Okay, you need to understand where your strengths are, what you're good at. And then maybe ask yourself from each job, what are your top accomplishments? You want to know each job experience. What did you bring to the table? What did you accomplish there? What did you learn? How did you grow? And you also want to ask yourself, what is your professional motivation and overall goal? With all these jobs, you learn these skills. What's your overall goal? What's your destination you want to reach? Do you want to be a CEO? Do you want to be a manager? You need to understand what your final goals are, because you're growing every day with your brand and you're growing in your job accomplishments. These are very good questions to ask yourself before you start branding yourself. Now I'm going to give you some applications of personal branding. I know this is a lot of information. A lot of it is very self-reflection, understanding yourself, so you can bring yourself, the true self, out into the public with your brand. So your About section on LinkedIn, as I mentioned in previous videos as well, is a vital part to write your narrative. This is the section you want to write in the first person, introducing your personality and skills to the public. Here I have an example, something my boss might write as a previous international student. As a previous international student, I knew the problems almost all international students were facing when immigrating to Canada, and I wanted to dedicate my career to solving these problems for future international students. What a great way to express someone's personality, their vision, their goals, and what they bring to the table. They care about international students. They care about making things better for them here in Canada. They want future people to not struggle. They don't like seeing other people suffer. You get all of that out of this one statement example. This is why personal branding is important. You might not have known that. You just know she owns the company. All right. You don't know the motivation behind it, but now we do. So this is a very important section. Another example of personal branding on LinkedIn is using your professional experience section. This section is written in the third person. You want it to be in a very formulated way. What you did, what was the result, which is third person. So an example here would be, for myself as an events coordinator, I might put under HY Voyagers. Organized and executed public company events for client acquisition, leading to a 97% client increase in new clients. Not bad, but you can definitely see what I did and what result I got from that. It's not a super detailed example, but it's just an example to show you how you would apply this to a job experience. So in your LinkedIn profile, you can put your job experience, but then you can actually show what you did and your summary of your job, which is awesome for branding and really helps you land that career job or that job you really want, because it shows what you brought to that company, what value you were. So here it'd be like, I almost gained 100% increase in new clientele. That shows a lot of information to a future employer or recruiter, showing that I have successful ideas. I was able to have events that gained us clientele in my events coordinating. So important things to think about. So remember, it is in the third person. These are some examples of about sections. I'm using my father's profile as I have in the previous presentation before. So we have a poor example and a professional example. I won't read them out in detail, but these are great to pause and read if you'd like. This about section, the first one is very undetailed. It's just, no one's going to want to read more. It looks like they don't care. The second one, you really have more of a detail of the person behind it. Same with this example. I know this is a long presentation, but this is a poor example of the professional experience section. You can see that they use first person, not third person, and you don't really understand what they did and what happened and what the results were. Where this is a professional example, you see it's in the third person, and you get an action and you get a result. All right, and to do this, you would add to your featured content. To add featured content is another way to give yourself some exposure for networking and helping your brand stand out. To do so, you would go to the Add Profile section. Then you would click on Add Featured. So here, it'll give you a way to take any content you've had and feature it as almost like pinning it to the top of your profile. Things you think are super important about your brand, so the people that visit your profile can see it in a snap, kind of get a snapshot of you. So you would click on the plus sign to add a post, add article, link, or media. And here I had featured a post my father had made before about HY Voyagers and myself, and that would be featured right under his About section to kind of give a snapshot of relevant content that he's been looking at and creating. Okay, so to summarize quickly a little bit, there's some do's and don'ts. I think this is relevant and helpful to you guys. So do be consistent across all social media. I mentioned that before. Your brand is everything, and don't confuse people. Keep your personal and professional circles distinct. When you're doing personal conversations versus professional ones, you got to distinguish that line when you're doing your personal branding. Ask for recommendations and endorsements. So when you have personal branding, you want to not be afraid to ask people to vouch for you. Personify your brand. If you have a company or things like that, you want to give it its own personality. So HY Voyagers, we have a vibe. We're very nautical in the sense like we're captains. You're our voyageurs. We're guiding you over the ships. Ahoy, all that. It's part of our brand. Be unapologetically authentic. Like I said, be you, don't fake it. You can also search for alumni on LinkedIn, which really helps build your network and your personal brand and extends everything all to that career goal. And you have to remember your offline presence is still part of your brand. So when you're out going getting a coffee, or maybe you paid for someone's coffee, or you were rude to someone, that's all offline, and that can all still affect your brand. And some don'ts. Don't be a copycat. No one likes that. That's not authentic. Don't be lazy. You have to put in the work to get results. Don't be ignorant. Stay up to date. Don't vent politics or religion online, especially for your personal brand. Those are topics to be taboo about. There is some instances where you can be pro-rights for something. If it sticks to your brand, that's great. Don't be preachy. Don't tell people they have to do something, or if they don't do it, they're wrong. Things like that. No one likes that aggression. And don't be unnecessarily dramatic. Don't be dramatic for the sake of attention. It's not good for a personal brand. It can really make things a downfall. All right. And maybe you're wondering, why is HY Voyagers telling us all this? We can help. We have programs here available for you to help you with your personal branding, LinkedIn profile building, and just job and career coaching in general. So all this information is overwhelming. We have the series. That's why we did them in videos, so you can take it at your own pace. But if you want further help, we can help with LinkedIn profile building from the scratch. We can help from optimization if you have a current one. And we can help you showcase your personal brand on LinkedIn. You want to showcase who you are to the public. We can definitely help you with that. If you want to showcase you and your brand to the fullest potential, please visit us at hyvoyagers.com-coaching-2. We have our package details available for you. And you can also contact us and just ask if you have inquiry questions. There is a fillable, form at the bottom of that page. There we go. So you can contact us directly and we can get a better understanding of your needs and help you out. And I really hope this presentation got some information to you, things to think about. If you have any questions, please comment below. Even if you have comments or suggestions for content or things you need assistance with, just pop us in the comments below. We love that. Please like and share and hit the bell so you get all our new content as it comes. We love to share and help you all out so much. This whole presentation was created by our team of captains and presented by your captain, Amelia. And again, we have our email here as well. And you can visit our website at hyvoyagers.com for any other content or things you might need assistance with as an international student. Have a great day. I know this was a long one. Take breaks, things like that. And have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Bon voyage!